So this is the discussion for the case that we were learning this week, learning about this week. The case that we're learning about this week, let's see, is the Thomas Green Power Office Politics and a Career in Crisis. So unfortunately, my Saul, he's no longer in the class and haven't been able to receive a response from Ty. So I'm just doing this on my own. So I'm just gonna go over the group discussion agenda. I'll say the prayer. Heavenly Father, I'm very grateful for this beautiful day and for the opportunity to continue to learn and continue to enrich myself in the lessons that have been prepared for us. I pray that we may feel the Spirit and I can share what I've learned. And I say this in the name of Jesus Christ, amen. So, going over the synopsis of the case. So basically what I saw in the case was that Thomas Green, he had recently started, well, not that long ago, working at a company called Dynamic Displays. He had worked elsewhere, but once he joined the company, it seems like he hit the ground running. He was hired by Shannon McDonald, and she worked really close with him, and she saw that he had promise in the company. He was really effective in what he did. So when there was a position open for him, well, not for him, but when a position opened in a different department, she felt that he was going to do a good job, and he really pushed for that position. But once he got the job, McDonald, his boss, did let him know that Frank Davis, the travel division vice president, the person he was going to be working under, they were not happy because they had somebody else in mind. So, she let him know that he's going to have to deal with the fallout, meaning that any ill feelings, he's going to have to sort them through. It seems like once he started working for Davis, it seems like Davis was very skeptical of what he was able to do. It didn't seem like Davis was really open to making the environment feel a certain way. It didn't seem, at least from what I read, that Davis tried to reach out a lot. And during the first month, they had a meeting. There was a meeting where Davis was giving people the projections that he had for the year. And when it came to the Eastern region, the projections that he gave of 10%, it was something that Green did not feel was realistic and was attainable. So he let him know during the meeting how he felt. And because of that, Davis seemed bothered. And from then on, Green felt that Davis held that inside of him. And it began to hurt their relationship. During the first month, when he went to get his critique for his performance for that first month, he felt that Davis was critical of him. He let him know that he was doing a lot of things incorrectly, He felt that he wasn't updating his Outlook calendar the way he would want to, and that there were things that Davis thought were important that were not being done, even after he asked several times. During this whole time that this was happening, well, he was telling him this, uh, Green felt bad and he was surprised. He did begin to mention these things to other people. It seems like other coworkers, people who like right around his level, but it never really improved the situation. He just had people, that said that either supported him in what he was doing and told him, I think that you're doing a good job for speaking your mind. 3 months passed and things did not get better. Their relationship didn't improve, and yeah, there was a lack of communication. And it got to the point that after the second performance review, which was about 3 months after the first, Davis let Green know that he was, not doing a good job. But it seems like at that time, though, Davis went straight to McDonald and let them know that he thought Green wasn't doing that good job, and because of it, she should consider getting someone else. So Green is in a position where, he started off really well in the company. He's been there for less than a year, because he had been there 6 months when he got promoted, and now he doesn't know if he's gonna stay long. McDonald wants him to respond to this email she received from Davis that he wasn't living up to his potential and he wasn't doing a good job. So Green doesn't really know what to do. I feel the key issues in this case is A, that Frank Davis feels unhappy that he wasn't able to choose the person. He wasn't able to choose the senior market specialist. He seems like he had somebody in mind, and that person wasn't Green. And I'm sure that person that he had in mind had the qualities that he was looking for. And he understood exactly how to work with him, or at least a lot better than Green. And it seems from what I read that it was customarily so that Davis would choose the person in that position, especially since he worked in that position and he got promoted to be the vice again, to be the vice president. Oh, to be the marketing director. So yeah, he used to work in that other position, and now he's the marketing director. So I feel that's the first issue, and I understand how Davis would feel. He would feel that he was stripped of some power, and that somebody else was chosen for him, and it's very hard to go into a situation like that and see that somebody else doesn't care as much about charts and about the way you want to do your business and run your department and offer to clients more data than what Green wants to offer. So I think that's the first issue. I think the second issue is that is Green. He's not. It seems like he's very determined on doing things his way. With the clients, from what I read, he makes a good connection and he's able to relate with them pretty well. He's not really into the numbers aspects in terms of providing a lot of information. He feels that's not too relevant. It has worked for him, but you know, Davis is his boss, and it doesn't mean he has to use it when he's trying to be relatable. But it's good for him to have it there because if for any reason he is not there, meaning Green is not there, by having the data that gives him the ability to connect with others and that he says he has in his mind, then by having that data on paper, it allows it for other people to understand that and be able to explain it. Maybe not as well as Green, but just in case anything were to happen to him, they would have a way to relate that information. So I feel like Green should understand that even though he has it in his head, it doesn't mean that he can not put it on paper because it's detrimental for the department, for record keeping information. I mean, I don't really know how the company runs, but the third issue that I see is McDonald. Yeah, after she put Green in that position, understanding that Davis was unhappy, she didn't seem to follow up on that decision. I feel she took it upon herself to put him there and understood that there were ill feelings involved. So she could have, maybe every 2 weeks, just touch base or reached out to him to see how everything was progressing. It seems like she only reached out maybe 3 or 4 times throughout, or they connected 3 or 4 times throughout a 16-month period. So there was a lot that was missed. Well, actually, 5-month period, sorry. 4-month period. And so there was a lot that was missed. And it seems like their communications were small, the times that, and pretty insignificant, the times that they did meet. So for McDonald there could have been more communication, or even Green could have sought out McDonald or sought out somebody else in a higher position that could have helped him or offered some guidance in regards to what he was enduring in terms of the miscommunications with Davis. So if I were Shannon McDonald, I would have hired Thomas Green. I feel that she hired him and she immediately saw that he had that potential. Would I have promoted him? I would have promoted him. Main reason is because of Frank Davis. It seems like it's customary for him to choose someone in that position, and I really would have run it by him. It seems like he wasn't too convinced, and he would have been better off, being more adamant about not having Thomas Green on his team and showing the importance of other than just pushing for it so he can get the person he wanted in that position that most likely understood the way he thought and what he wanted and what he valued. Going into what Frank Davis He seems like he values charts. He values people that if he asks for something, they get it done quickly. He values respecting authority and respecting chain of command. Um, so he values having the information in written form so it's available to everyone. His end goal, a lot of people's end goal right now is to get rid of Green. He wants to put someone there in a position who values the things he values. I think Thomas Green values connection. He seems to be very relatable. He gets along with most people. Seems to do well with the clients. He doesn't value too much having things on paper, and I feel he likes understanding. And you know, he even though he has something in his head, God forbid something would happen to him, it would leave the company in a very bad position if what he knows, goes with him. And I think Frank Davis, at the end of the day, he's trying to work his way up, not too much like by being charged, but like by connecting and work his way up that way. I feel that Thomas Green's actions differ from Frank's expectation because Frank is looking for someone who's willing to put it on paper. Thomas Green is more of a people person and wanting to connect, and they value different aspects of their job. Thomas is really good at, you know, explaining the information to the client and having the client understand that Thomas is, the company is aware of what their end goal is, but Frank expects Thomas to put what he has discovered in written form so then it's made available to everyone. And well, at least that's what I think. It's made available to everyone, and he can see it. And then also, if the customer were to ask for it, they can offer that as well. So going beyond what he feels comfortable doing. I feel, this is a good question. Who's mostly at fault for the state of the current situation? I feel that everyone has a fault. I feel Frank has a fault because he didn't make his expectations that clear. He didn't, in terms of not helping Thomas along until his performance, not pulling him aside and letting him know, this is what we need, this is what I need you to do, and just let him know that from the get-go. I feel that Thomas is partly to blame because he's being incorrigible. Like he doesn't, um, he's not taking Frank's advice seriously. And I think also Sharon's to blame, McDonald's to blame because she didn't follow up. She was the one who made the decision, understanding who Davis was. She knew Davis way better than Green knew Davis, so she kind of could have foresaw this. And she did give him a warning, so which means she wasn't unaware, but she let him know that he has to deal with it. So mostly at fault, though. I would say it's Green because Green had the opportunity to be more willing to do what Davis asked and to speak to McDonald and let her know what was going on. He chose to speak to other people that were involved in the situation, and that becomes more like gossip. But if he would have spoken to someone that was in a position to help him out, it could have been mediated before it reached the 4 month mark. And okay, so how does the power and office politics come into play? Well, it's interesting because um, at this moment, you know, Shannon Shannon McDonald's goal for putting Thomas there was to change up the culture a little bit, bring something new to um, the Department of Franklin. And I feel that she was hoping, I guess, from what I've seen, that Thomas' relatable approach was gonna somehow fuse with, I guess, Frank's more analytical and more chart-based, more information-based, and the two can somehow mesh together better and they can work in unison in order to enhance um, their effectiveness with their customers and with their clients. I think in terms of Frank is just looking for someone that knows how he works, knows what he needs to be done, and is able to execute. Um, Thomas, he's looking, to rise as quickly as possible. He seems to be very ambitious, and yeah, he's willing to put forth. Um, I think he's willing to do what he needs to take if it's explained to him, but at the same time, he feels it seems like he thinks, that he knows a lot. He seems pretty confident. Yeah, I feel that in terms of their conflict styles, um, Tom is pretty uncooperative. Um, Frank's Frank is pretty when it comes to conflict. Seems he's pretty like, hmm, Frank's pretty. I see this disassociates a little bit, um, and it's pretty aggressive in the way he communicates. I mean, it doesn't really get much, but it seems like he always comes from left field. Um, the magnitude of how unhappy he is when he does voice it, but he doesn't really seek out to let him know that you know how he's really feeling. I think that McDonald, she's avoiding, I guess, the situation. She has been, I don't know, she's been really busy. Most likely she has, but yeah, she's doesn't really avoid. She has seems like she's been avoiding it. Well, I think what would salvage the situation would be a big powwow. Everybody coming together, Davis being really honest, it's like, hey, you know, I felt unhappy that you didn't allow me to pick the person that I want. These are the skill sets that I'm looking for. This is what I need the person to do. Seeing that, Thomas has these skill sets, I think, then he can be honest and let them know whether he thinks it's a positive or a negative, but he needs to do these things. And I can't have him in my department unless he's willing to do these things and he takes it as a priority. And then, when Thomas has the opportunity, it's like, okay, I will do these things, and find a way how to work on communicating. Okay, how do you want me to put my information on an Outlook? How do you want me to do, um, so put my information on Outlook? How do you want me to do the charts? Why do you want me to do the charts? And I feel that once, Thomas understands the reasons why he wants him to do the charts, I think he wants to do so well in the company that he's willing to make those adjustments. And maybe begrudgingly at first, but with time, if Davis is able to communicate that he's doing a good job, I'm sure it would help Thomas, feel appreciated, and he'll start enjoying his job more, even though he may be doing things that he never really wanted to do in the first place. And in regards to McDonald, she just needs to ensure that there is communication. She should extend Thomas's trial period and give him another opportunity, but they need to have a meeting. Maybe this all cannot happen in one meeting, but it should be subsequent meetings where she takes the time to speak to maybe each person individually and then gather something and help mediate that. Maybe it's not her job title, but she was the one that put both of them in that situation. So she has the power and authority to do that. Okay, so this is the meeting.